like to call the August Elizabethton City Schools Board of Education meeting to order. I appreciate everyone being here. To begin with, we'll have a moment of silence and then pledge the flag, and I'll ask Mr. Van Huss to lead us in both of those, if you would please stand.
Please pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Also would like to say a special welcome to our new student liaison, Hannah McCoy, her first official meeting, and we look forward to a great year with her, and she'll have time to share a little bit later if she chooses to, okay? It's now time to approve the consent and regular agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
One thing I would like to mention, the executive committee, Mr. Van Huss and I would like to add one more item onto the regular agenda. That would become item F, and that would be to approve purchase of 612 Dell Chromebooks for $149,940 using the state contract pricing. Now, there's a reason we would like to bring that now and not wait until September. I'm going to let Mr. Van Huss explain that, and then we'll vote to approve.
Absolutely, it's just logistics. This was approved, as Mr. Pless said, in the budget that you approved earlier this year. We just received this quote, and so the quicker that we can get the board to approve, issue the PO, the quicker we can get those ordered and in the hands of students. So it's simply trying to get those items into students' hands as quickly as possible.
Any questions about that? So I'll make that in the form of a motion that we amend the regular agenda by adding that item, which would be item F. Can I get a second? Second, okay. Any questions again about that? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. On the schedule, you don't see where it says time for citizens to speak. There's not a name listed, but we do have Mr. Johnson, David Johnson, with Camp Tapawingo, who wants to address the board, and he did so within the 5 days of what's required. So, again, if you would come to the microphone and if you'd state your name and address, and then have at it.
All right. Point this up a little bit, maybe. All right. I can just give one of these just to pass around so you have a little reference to what we're talking about. My name is Dave Johnson, and I'm the director up at Camp Tapawingo here in Watauga. Some of you may be familiar with the camp. Maybe you even went, or maybe somebody in your family has gone over the years. It's not unusual for me to have a parent or grandparent stop me in Walmart if I'm wearing a camp t-shirt and start sharing fond memories of the 1940s or 50s or 60s when they went, and now they're grandparents. And my wife Kathy and I have had the wonderful privilege of being involved there at Camp Tapawingo for 28 years. And this summer we had 736 campers that came to camp, a lot of them from Elizabethton. Last fall, a year ago, we began offering a wonderful program we call Bible Release Time to your 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Although this was new for Elizabethton, we currently have programs in 4 other school districts locally: Carter, Johnson, Greene County, and Bristol City Schools. I've personally taught in Release Time for many years, and I've either started or helped start programs in 8 other school districts in Tennessee, Virginia, Kentucky, and North Carolina, and I've seen tens of thousands of children attend release time programs. Although it's a big part of our ministry at the camp, there are actually many other active programs across the U.S. Last count that I saw, that there are over 250,000 children who attend release time. Nationwide, it's kind of referred to as religious release time. That's kind of the legal name for it. Some ministries provide release time for even high school students, and they can even receive high school credit for completion of courses. Many of these programs are weekly. We've always offered it monthly to mostly elementary students, so we have time to provide it to more children. To bring you up to speed on how it works here locally, students in grade 3 to 5 are excused during one special class period once a month to attend off-school property, a class with our textbook, the Bible. To get started, a child must have a signed consent form from home, and that form is good for the entire school year, and that's what we just passed around. Page 1 is our form. Page 2 is the form that's your school board form. The forms are normally distributed at the school a few weeks before the first class, and last year at Mr. Van Huss's request, we provided them in a sealed envelope, marked to be opened by parent or guardian, and then the students took them home so the parent could be made aware of the class that was available for their child. Last fall, to be honest, if we had had a dozen students sign up at each of your 3 elementary schools, I would have considered an awesome start. But we were really excited when over 100 children enrolled the very first month. And the number grew during the school year, and by the end of the school year, we had 200 children enrolled in Bible release time here at Elizabeth and City Schools. The kids just have a great time, and we find they're very curious about the Bible. Mr. Van Huss sent me a copy of your updated policy back in the spring to give me a heads up. I appreciated that. For this fall, that we would not be able to distribute consent forms at the schools anymore, so parents could be aware of this for their kids. I understand that you deal with a number of requests during the school year for outside organizations to advertise what are actually very good and after-school programs and activities, and too much of that can be disruptive and at the very least cumbersome for your school staff to have to add to an already busy school day. I would like for you to consider, however, since this is an educational program that happens during school but must take place outside the school to satisfy church and state issues, that our consent forms could continue to be made available for parents so they can be aware and give permission for their child to attend just as they would for any field trip. In the 13 school districts that we have begun programs over the years, this has continued to be the method used by every school system to make the parents aware that this specials class is available for their child. Just looking at the wording of your updated policy from back in the spring, I'll just read the first sentence of the policy. It says, advertising and distribution of materials in the schools shall not be permitted except those that promote activities of a school-sponsored organization, which we are not, or of a board-approved school support organization, which I think we are. I don't see anything in the amended policy for you to give, that you couldn't give Mr. Van Huss the go-ahead to let us continue what we've done in the past. I think we would fall under the category of a school support organization. We definitely feel like that in our classes, as students are exposed to God's Word, we are supporting Elizabethton City Schools by encouraging kids, because of God's love for them, to be the best students they can be at school. I can testify personally of teachers that have come to thank me and tell me that they can tell a positive difference in the students who have attended our program. And I think by supporting the school in this way, it's a win-win for the parents, students, and the school. Again, it's a joy to work with your students and be able to teach them about God and the Bible. Thank you again for this awesome opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay, at this time, it is time for special recognitions. We have a couple, and again, just to let you know, once we have the special recognitions, we will have a time where those that came for that event will be able to leave, and then we'll carry on with the regular meeting. So if you'll hang on just through both of these, and I will turn it over to Mr. Van Huss.
Okay. If Coach McLeod and Coach Wilson, if you'll come up, and we want to recognize the Tia Duggar track team from last year.
Okay, thank you. I'm Coach McLeod. This is Coach Wilson, and we just want to recognize some of our athletes that did qualify for the state track meet last year at Tia Duggar. It was really awesome to have so many kids go, and our 8th graders overcame a lot to be able to go to the state track meet because it was this same weekend as their DC trip. So their dedication to even make the trip all the way over there, you know, in the midst of DC and everything else was really commendable. So we appreciate their dedication. For the boys track team, Braylon Britt, if you'll come on up here, Braylon, he qualified in the 100 meter open. For the girls, we had our first girls relay team qualify this year, which is a big deal. And so we were really excited about that. Our girls 4x1 relay, we had Cheyenne Everett. She also qualified in the open 100 girls. Vela Nave, and she also qualified in the open 800, and she placed 3rd in the 800 meter. We had Milani Everett, who stepped in and helped us out in the 4x1 girls and in a clutch, and we really appreciated her doing that. And then we also had Addison Merriman and Nay Musa, which they weren't able to come tonight, but they qualified for that 4x1 girls relay. And then we had Liana Nave, who qualified in shot put and discus, and she got 3rd place in discus. It was a shootout right till the end. It was really fascinating to watch, but the last 3 girls throwing, they beat each other just barely, and all 3 of them broke the state track meet record for discus, and so it was like boom, boom, boom right in a row. It was a little heartbreaking because she took 1st place, and then the next girl beat her, and then the next, it was and she also got 5th place in shot put. So we just want to recognize their hard work and dedication, and as my last year coaching track at Tia Duggar, it was a happy, sad moment to be able to be there with all of them. So do you have anything, Wilson? Okay. He's like, no. The first thing he said to me when we walked in is, "You're talking." So I was like, okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, slide down a little bit. So you know, you may think it's a little bit late, but it's hard being that close to the end of the year to be able to get everyone back together, you know, when summer starts, and so that's why we wait until August. So thank you very much for your contributions to the school system and Tia Duggar, and best of luck this year as well. At this time, we would like to recognize Sheriff Fraley. Just to give you a little background why we're recognizing him today. Historically, in years past, we've been able to secure trustees from the sheriff's office to come in and help us do various projects around our schools during the summer. And there are, you know, guidelines and stipulations on when that can occur, and obviously students can't be on campus and things like that. And so just the amount of work that those individuals have been able to do, and quite frankly, saving the taxpayer dollars for the work that they've done, has just been a huge bonus and a help for us throughout the years. We've gone through a spell where we didn't have that trustee help, and it was a real strain on us. Obviously, we had to find other ways to do that work. But thanks to Sheriff Fraley, we were able to have a crew at least once a week through most of the summer to come, and they did things like help move furniture in and out at Harold McCormick during their their construction this summer. Also helping us out at the old Union Pharmacy building, doing a lot of demo work. That's just two examples of things they've done. And so we just felt it's important. We are blessed in Elizabeth and in Carter County to have the gentlemen that work in law enforcement, again, Sheriff Fraley, as well as Chief Shaw with the Elizabethton Police Department and all of our SROs. You hear a lot of horror stories from other areas about challenges, and we just don't have those, and it's all because of the leadership that we have in those two positions, so we're very appreciative of that. So, again, ask Sheriff Fraley if he would come tonight so we could recognize and thank him publicly. And so, Sheriff, if you'll come on up, we'll snap a real quick picture, and again, thank you for all you do for us.
No, I just appreciate working with you guys, and as a graduate of the city school system, I just glad that we can help out, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
And this would be that opportune time to exit unless you want to stay for the rest of the meeting. And we do appreciate you being here. And again, congratulations.
Typically, there's not any discussion, but you can call me tomorrow. Yeah, you can give me a call. Thank you. Thank you.
Dress a little better for.
No, this is good.
We have a 300-foot zip line at the camp, and we've got a bunch of students there this afternoon. They need to be there.
All right.
Understand.
You do what
Take
you
care.
need to do.
Thank you.
It's now time for the director's update. Mr. Van Huss?
Okay, well, Mr. Pless stole my thunder. I was going to welcome Hannah McCoy as the new student liaison, but again, welcome to Hannah. I've known Hannah for many, many years, and we're so excited to add her to this group and this body, and her perspective is going to be extremely beneficial for all of us. So we look forward to hearing from you, maybe even in a few minutes, Hannah. So thank you. Just want to let you know the school year has gotten off to a tremendous start. Again, that's just a testament to the individuals. I know I sound like a broken record, but we're only as good as the people that work with our students each and every day. And we have the best, second to none. I put them up against anyone, and so it's been a great start to the school year. And just thank you all for coming out and helping us with the Back to School Bash. That was an incredible success. We kind of had to make some modifications on the fly due to the weather, but it was extremely successful. We ordered roughly 800 bags in school supplies. We had, I think 35 left at the end, so that gives you an idea. Over 1,000 people came through by the time you count kids and adults. We've already met and debriefed about some things that maybe we can do, change to make it a little bit better. For those of you that were there, it kind of bogged down a little bit at the beginning, and so we've already looked at some ways to make that flow a little better in the future. But the vendors were all so appreciative and positive about the opportunity they had to interact with people in the community. So it was great. So obviously we'll continue that, tweak that. I think we do like the inside the school. It's obviously climate controlled. It's less weather dependent. We're still able to do most of those activities regardless of the weather. So we'll probably have that same setup arrangement next year with a few tweaks to it. So we also had a great in-service to start the year, and thanks to all of you that were able to be there as well. Again, just things moving along well for the first few weeks of school. Just an update on capital projects. Construction continues on the remodel at Harold McCormick. I just want to say how impressed and how much I appreciate the staff at Harold McCormick. Again, living through the construction is very difficult, but man, they've been troopers. They've just grabbed the bull by the horns, and they've just moved right ahead. And rather than sitting around and complaining and being frustrated and all those things, they're just like, the good thing is they've seen 2 classrooms that are completed, and they know what's coming. So that just having that visual to be able to walk in there, and I told Mr. Wampler, I said, when you have a teacher that's struggling, just let them go walk down that room. Just look around and know what's in store for them. So we're again, that continues to progress nicely, and you know, a few little typical hiccups when you're working on a building that's of that age, but again, it's going to be incredible. If you haven't had a chance to get by and look at that, please do. Give me a call if you want me to go with you, but you know, it's just going to be a huge addition and improvement for that school. The secure entrance project at T.A. Duggar is well underway. They've already started some demo work there at the main entrance, and they've moved the main entrance for now to the back side of the stage area of the auditorium. That's the main entrance when people need to get in and out. So again, work continues there. It should be finished somewhere around Christmas. Again, just a few little hiccups again when you're dealing with the building that was built in 1940. But again, that's going to be a huge improvement for the safety and well-being of the students at T.A. Duggar as well. The Union Pharmacy building, we're continuing to finish up the design aspect there and get pricing on the remodel there to move the alternative school there, as well as the Professional Development Center and the Family Resource Center. We're really going to focus on the alternative school portion first. We're going to try to do a lot of that work in-house with our maintenance staff. So we're just trying to finalize some of those things with our construction manager to finish up those items and identify the ones that we think we can handle ourselves, again, to try to keep that cost down and at a minimum. Design work continues on the Elizabethton High School Athletic Training Facility. Mr. Weems is working again with Presta Construction on that to finalize that. Should have more information on that project for you in the next month or two. I also want to give a thank you to the City of Elizabethton for those of you that were able to attend the concert in Citizens Bank Stadium last Saturday at Casting Crowns and Jordan Feliz. It was an incredible night, incredible turnout. The rain was an inconvenience at the beginning, but it sure cooled things down and just made for an absolutely beautiful evening. And just to be there with so many people from our community in that facility, in that venue, it was just special. So we appreciate the city, first class all the way. There's already it's becoming an established event now that artists are reaching out to the city saying, will you consider us for that time, for that event. So again, just thank you to the city manager, Greg Workman, Mike Maines, all those individuals that made that a reality. You also notice on the consent agenda, there's a Elizabethton City Schools reopening plan and a safe return to in-person instruction and continuity of services plan. This is an ESSER requirement, and again, you've had a chance to look at that. If you have additional things you would, input you would like to share on that, please let me know. That's something that we will have to submit as part of a requirement for our ESSER dollars. Last thing, thank you for allowing me to attend the TSBA Summer Law Institute at the conclusion of last month's board meeting. Their trainings are always good. You always pick up some information that's useful, and I trust that those of you that were able to attend gain some insight there to help you in your role as school board member. And that's all I have.
All right. Thank you. And now it's time for any board members that would like to report. And I know 3 of us got to go to the summer law, and I don't know if anybody had anything they wanted to share from that. Peddlers?
That was nice.
Yeah. No, TSBA is an amazing organization. They really do a great job keeping us at the forefront of what's going on legally and legislatively with what we do as a board and what our school system does. So we'll have another opportunity to hear them in a couple of Monday nights on the 28th at Westridge. That's the fall district meeting. And it says it starts at 5. They open up registration at 4:30. And again, it's scheduled to end at 7. So hopefully you'll be able to attend that I will tell you had the previous, some boards choose to go for a board of distinction designation. And so I had the opportunity actually at 4 o'clock today to attend the Carter County School Systems Board meeting. And you evaluate their meeting, which is a good learning experience for me. I would highly recommend you find a local one to go to. Most of them you can even watch online. But it's just interesting to see how everybody does business. Everybody does it just a little bit differently, but they end up at the same result. But again, I appreciated that opportunity. I'll have a chance to go to Johnson County next month. But again, look forward to the fall meeting, fall district meeting, and then obviously going to Nashville for those of us that can go to Nashville in November.
And I'll send some information about that closer to, if you all would like to carpool over, if you'll just let me know and we can arrange that.
Okay, all right. Anything else board member wise? All right, next, Mr. Simmerly is not here tonight, so we will not have a city council liaison report. And now, with no further ado, Hannah, it is your time. You'll have this opportunity every month, and we do look forward to hearing what you want to share. So welcome, and go ahead.
Thank you for the welcome. I just wanted to say that I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I'm excited to see what we can accomplish over this next year concerning Elizabethton High School and the growth that will occur. I just wanted to report that it has been a great start to the school year. One thing I've noticed that's gone a little differently at the high school is just more focus on community and building that community, especially for the freshmen. I got to give a presentation the other day on the different clubs and different opportunities and just really promoting them and encouraging them to get involved early so that they won't have any regrets when they're a senior and they can say, look, I was able to do this over the 4 years and really make those connections and friendships. So, yes.
Well, good. Well, thank you. And I understand it's a large freshman class, the way I understand, so, which is good news for us, but thank you. Okay, it's now time for the regular agenda. First item, to approve on first and only reading, Board Policy 4.600, the grading system. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Got a motion and a second. I'll take that as a second. Mr. Van Huss?
Yes. Last year, we made an amendment to the grading scale, the grading policy, and instituted a minimum of 50 for students for each 9-week grading period. And after putting that in place for a year, and just to let you know, there's a lot of school systems around Northeast Tennessee and around the state, quite frankly, around the country that do this, so this wasn't, anything innovative on our part. But after having a chance to evaluate that, we met as an administrative team, both school level and central office, and talked about how that went. There were a few things of concern that administrators brought to us, to our attention, and that was that they really felt like there should be an attendance component for a student to be eligible for this minimum 50. The intention of the minimum 50 is to allow a student, give them hope if they have some things that happen that, put them in a bad spot, they still have a chance to earn that credit. So I feel like even if you have a 50 at the end of the 9 weeks, you have a chance that next 9 weeks to bring that up to a grade and receive the credit. So that's the intention, and we want to do that, and we feel like that's the right thing to do for students. But at the same time, we feel like that it is important. Student attendance is extremely important. School systems across the country are dealing with issues with chronic absenteeism. It's something that we're measured as a school system by, and so we felt like it was important to add that to that. So basically, this policy, our recommendation for this would be that a student is eligible for the 50%, this is on page 2, says as long as a student has 3 or less unexcused absences. Should a student have more than 3 unexcused absences, the student's grade will not be eligible for the 50% minimum grade adjustment. So again, that would be something that we would check individually each 9 weeks to make sure that's the case. We don't think that's too much to ask. And again, these are unexcused absences. These are not things like, I'm sick, here's my doctor's note, or things like that. This is just unexcused. There's no reason given why the student's not there. So we felt like that was important to do that. We wanted to respond and be, again, that was brought to, I guess, again, by school administrators and feedback from teachers on how to make this policy a little bit better. So, questions on that? And the reason it's first and only reading, obviously, the school year has started, and so we don't want to wait another month and have a second reading on this. So, you know, if you vote in the affirmative, this will be the new policy immediately after.
Okay. Any questions or comments? I appreciate somebody catching that and thinking ahead a little bit about possibilities. So the item is to approve on first and only reading Board Policy 4.600, grading system. All those in favors, please say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item, approve first reading of Board Policy 6.415, student suicide prevention. Can I get a motion to approve? A motion to approve and a second? Second. All right.
This is a pretty simple but a very important update, and it's simply there is a new emergency number that we needed to update this policy. As you see there on the first page on line 4, there was a National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. It was a 1-800 number that has now been replaced with the number. Someone can just dial 988 and they'll immediately receive support if there are concerns about a potential suicide. So again, just like 911 is the emergency number, from now on 988 will be the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. So someone could call that anywhere in the United States and get the help that they need. So we want to make sure we got that corrected, updated.
All right. Any questions? Item is to approve first reading of Board Policy 6.415, student suicide prevention. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item, evaluation of Director of Schools by Board of Education. I'll just take a quick second. First, start by thanking Nicole, who took the hard copy format of the evaluation, was able to convert it into an online survey, and I hope all of y'all appreciated the ease of that. And then also, just as it tallied the results, much easier than trying to do that by hand. So I appreciate the four of us, you all getting that in a timely way. I'll just summarize. It's on basically a 5-point scale, a 1 to 5, 1 being low, 5 being high. Overall, on the multitude of questions, and there were a number of them, about 4.6 to 4.7, I think, is where Mr. Van Huss's evaluation came in. Some strengths that came out of that were in communication with the board and communication with the stakeholders of our community. And again, that's really all we have to go on, because the day-to-day operations people really know. So I appreciate the fact that not just what we need to know, but even other things that we're contacted in a very timely way with what's happening in our school system and what we may need to know to be able to answer a community member effectively, or those kind of things. Also was very strong on, which again is a big deal, on just the interpretation of the data that comes in, and I know that's kind of more of a group effort than maybe just an individual. So I know Myra and others have a huge part in that, but again, Mr. Van Huss being able to let us know, continue to see a vision for our system to make sure that our students are as prepared as they can be when they leave or promote, to the next grade. Again, there really wasn't an area of weakness across the board, which I think is just a testament to him. And this is hard for me. I normally don't compliment Mr. Van Huss. So just again, our relationship and everything like that. But in a very serious way, I think it shows that we're very thankful from a board standpoint of his leadership. And I think our system's very fortunate to have him in this leadership role. And I think he continues to prove that it was a good selection and that we're headed in the right direction. And we all know that that can change in the twinkling of an eye, but our prayer is again, we'll continue to move in the direction that we have been. Appreciate everybody being supportive and being on board with what our system's trying to do. Any comments or questions from any other board member? If you remember anything in particular or that you want, this is your chance to say, you can have at it if you want to, for Mr. Van Huss. Hearing none, I think your evaluation spoke for that. So again, just wanted you to know that will be documented. That'll go to Ms. Walker, and that will be documented if you wanted to. Anybody needs to see that. That'll be public record, this evaluation. So any questions you have? Good.
No, just thank you all very much. It's a professional honor of my career to be in this role, and it is certainly not about me. It's about all the other people, a lot of them sitting in the back of the room right now that make it happen. I typically try to stay out of the way. I say that all the time, but it's the honest truth. We have great people, and this is the best job in the world. So thank you for allowing me to serve in this role.
All right. And we do truly thank you and your crew. All right. The next item, this is not an easy one, but is to approve the acceptance of Mr. Mike Wilson's resignation from his position of school board member of the Elizabethton City Board of Education effective immediately. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve and a second?
Second.
And a second. Again, not going to elaborate a lot on this, but if anybody wants to say anything about Mike, his service to our system, to our community, he's done a little bit of everything, and he will truly be missed in this role. And so we do wish him the best. Appreciate his service. So many people don't remember what a great classroom teacher that he was, because he was always involved in coaching and athletics and everything. But he certainly loved our students and our community. This is not his natural community. He was not born here, didn't go to school here, but he certainly adopted our school. And I've heard so many people recently just talk about just little things he did for them that was just special, or for their child. And I don't know, anybody else have anything they would like to say about Mr. Wilson?
He's been a good friend of mine for many years. He and I ran together, and he is a good man. He's highly intelligent. There's not a topic of conversation that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
A realm of information. So I'm going to miss him. And I wish him well.
I got to know Coach Wilson back when my girls were in high school, and he was great to my girls and all the other kids that were involved in athletics and any other thing that was in the school system. Just a wonderful person, a great person for our children. He was a good man.
Yes.
I echo what Mr. Pless said. I got the privilege of teaching beside of him for many years. In his classroom, we both taught history, so he was a great teacher. Learned a lot from him. Appreciate him, and we'll be missing him. So.
Yeah. So big shoes to fill. We're going to talk about maybe the process of doing that. But again, the item is to approve the acceptance of Mike Wilson's resignation. I didn't mean to jump. You had anything you want to say before I do
No,
that?
I've already made a public statement,
Gotcha,
but just
gotcha.
appreciate
Okay.
Mike Wilson very much.
To approve the acceptance of Mr. Mike Wilson's resignation from the position of school board member of the Elizabethton City Board of Education effective immediately. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. Next item, discussion of process to fill board member vacancy for the remainder of the term. So, you have a copy of Elizabethton City Charter, and so you kind of know what we're up against. We have 30 days, essentially, to fill that vacancy. Our thoughts are probably varied. We may already have people that we think would do really well. I do think that the article in the Star and in the press piqued a lot of people's curiosity and maybe brought some people out that we'll find out. You know, I've had several calls, several texts about things. So once we decide on the process, then it'll be our job to come up with one candidate, more than one, depending on where we stand as a board, and then we will vote to find someone to finish that term. So we're looking for somebody to fill the board until November of 2024, the next time there's a regular city election. And at that time, if whomever we feel wants to run again, they would need to run just like anybody else would for that position. So, any thoughts from anybody? I mean, I've thought about this a lot, but I certainly haven't cornered the market on the thoughts. But any thoughts about timing, speed, that type thing? And we've had some conversations just about maybe process, but I think maybe the quicker we can do that, the better. And there's not a form that you fill out to apply for this, because normally you're going to the election commission and filling out paperwork and getting petitions signed so you can run. So my thoughts were an interested party having to be a citizen or a resident of Elizabethton City that is interested in running would need to turn in a letter, for a better term, a letter stating their name and their address, and then maybe a brief explanation about why they would like to run or why they feel like they would be a good candidate. And they would not turn those in to us. Those would come, maybe if we decide this, they would come to Miss Walker, and then once the deadline's over, then maybe have her send those out to us and give us a little time to go over those before we have the meeting to do that. Any thoughts about that?
Do we
We
need
set
to
a,
set a
that's
deadline
what I was
for
gonna
people
ask.
that are interested, or?
I
is
think
that
I think you do. I mean, that's just my opinion. I think you need to set a deadline. I have an opinion of a deadline because I think you almost need a deadline for that letter, and then you need to have the special call meeting. And we could wait, and it could be on next month's agenda. I think it would be better to maybe have it before, because then that person would have the opportunity to be a part of the board for the September meeting and might be able to attend some things and get them a little more acclimated. There is some training that they'll have to do that's required. They'll be a new board member, so they'll have to go through everything that that we did during that new experience. And so, I mean, my thoughts were maybe a week. I don't think we need to extend it forever. I think people are interested. I think they probably know as we're talking right now. But maybe by noon next Friday or next Thursday would be a week. What do you think? How much time do you all think we need to give for that process?
I think a week is,
Ms. Walker, is there to be able to gather stuff and get it scanned and send it out to us, would it be better if it was by the end of the day on Thursday? And that way you would kind of be able to get that together then or on Friday? Okay. What do you think?
Think that'll work noon Friday?
Noon Friday, just say noon Friday.
That's the 25th.
So the 25th, so at noon on Friday the 25th would be the deadline to submit a letter of interest in filling Mr. Wilson's spot on the board. Okay? Then the next step is, when do we want to have a special called meeting, or do we want to wait until the regular September meeting to do that? My thoughts are, if we're kind of moving quickly with that, we probably want to have a special called meeting just for the purpose of selecting that person. So 2 weeks from tonight is what, the
31st.
31st. Would people be okay to do that at our regular time on that Thursday? 5:30 on the 31st? Do you know, is there people going to be here, or do you know?
I have a dilemma on that day. Could we do it earlier in the afternoon?
How early can you get free? Would 4 or 4:30 make a difference? You're good?
As far as I know.
All right, so. You're retired. Oh, yeah, retired. Got all the time in the world. So we'll say, will 4:30 give you enough time for you, or 4? I mean, okay, he can make it by 4. You want to say 4?
Would work better for us.
Okay, all right, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, so noon on the 25th is the deadline for the letter of interest.
And again, that's just name, address, and a reason why they feel like they would.
Yes, name, address, yeah, and again, just needing to be a city in case someone didn't live in the city, we would need to be able to discard
Yes.
that, and they wouldn't be eligible.
And we'll do that. We'll verify that the information that you get, that
Okay.
the address they give us is a city address. So we'll do all that
Okay.
for you.
All right. Then, in that special called meeting, the process, there are probably several ways we can do that. By then, we will have had a chance to read through that. I don't know if we need to give people a chance to share, or if we will use the letter to make our decision and just open it up for nominations. I'm kind of open to what you all think. Do we want to allow people, 3 minutes? Because again, we don't know how many people there are going to be. There could be one, and this could be all over very quickly. There could be a bunch.
So you're saying the people that are writing the letters come in and?
Well, if they wanted to, we could give them the opportunity. It wouldn't be mandatory. My assumption is if they were interested, they probably would be there at that meeting. But I don't think we need to get into an open dialogue with anybody, but it may be better just to use the letter and make a recommendation or nominate somebody for that.
I think so.
Okay, all right. So we'll accept nominations. We would have to get a second, correct, for that person to be considered. If we get more than one nomination, then the fund starts. So if you get 2 nominations in 2 seconds, then that means there's probably going to be a split vote. And if that were the case, I really will be upset with the other board members, but no, it's fine. That's just part of it. But then it would be my responsibility to name that person according to the charter. So, and if I'm out of town, the assistant chair takes that role. No, I would not. Oh, does the charter? Okay, I'm looking really
Don't
closely.
try to pass it.
No, it's a big deal. Somebody taking that spot is a very big deal, and we're honored if we have one want to do that. We would be honored with one, but if we have multiple, I think that speaks well about what's going on in our system. So, All right, so you got all that, Ms. Walker? Can I, this is just a discussion, so we don't have to vote. So next Friday noon, letters due. Following Thursday at 4, we have the meeting, and we will accept nominations at that time.
Yeah, and so just for the record as well, so if anyone has that, they can either bring that here to the central office and drop that off at the front office. They could email myself, they could email Ms. Walker, either way would be fine.
Okay.
If they want email addresses, they could call the front office here as well,
Okay.
the main line, and we can give them email addresses if they would rather email it. So just whatever,
Yeah. Okay.
we'll assist with that.
All right. All right. Okay, so that's settled. We still have one more item, the one we added, item F. So that item is to approve purchase of 612 Dell 3110 Chromebooks from Dell Technologies for $149,940 using state contract pricing. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve and a second.
Second.
Okay, got either one there. We've already kind of heard the explanation. Any other comments or questions about that? Just something to benefit our students, and the quicker we can get them, the better. I remember the struggle to get them when we ordered all those back during COVID.
Yeah, and just again to remind you, the key, the fact that it's on a state contract, it's already met the bid requirement and those type things, so.
Yep. Okay, so the item is to approve purchase 612 Dell 3110 Chromebooks from Dell Technologies for $149,940 using state contract pricing. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be Thursday, September the 21st, 2023 at 5:30 here. The next not regularly scheduled meeting will be on the 31st at 4. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Everyone have a good evening.